Last-minute April coronavirus COVID information and diving. State of play 1. The diving activity, scuba, apnea, rebreather, etc., is authorized. Diving is one of the physical and sporting activities, APS, which are not prohibited. APS diving establishments therefore remain open. Sporting activity, considered a necessity for the physical and mental well-being of everyone, is preserved. Application of health decisions, Ministry in charge of sports, April 3, 2021. The leisure practice of nautical activities, boating and diving remains authorized. Atlantic Maritime Prefecture, and similar provisions for other maritime prefecture, April 3, 2021. In the regulations, the reference to APS establishments is generally formulated as follows. Establishments, physical activity and sports, falling under Articles L322-1 and L322-2 of the Sports Code. 2. Practice framework. In general, diving can be practiced either in the middle of nature, lakes, rivers, bodies of water, sea, ocean, etc., subject to local prohibitions, either within an establishment receiving the public, ERP, on condition that it is open, not prohibited. For the practice of diving, there are two types of ERP. Indoor sports establishments, Type 10. Swimming pools or diving pits, cannot accommodate the public. For leisure activities, Art. 42. Decree No. 2020-1310, outdoor establishments, PA-type, outdoor swimming pools, landscaped arena, etc. may, by exemption, welcome the public for physical and sports activities, with the exception of team sports and combat sports. Art. 42, Decree N. Degree 2020-1310. Diving is not a team sport. As part of the activities authorized in Article 42, APS establishments can therefore accommodate the public, Article 43. Exemptions are possible, subject to conditions, for specific audiences, professional and high-level athletes, university or professional training, certain school or extracurricular audiences, physical activities for people with a medical prescription, etc. See Article 42 in its entirety if you are concerned. Warning: the practice in the great outdoors is not a practice within an ERP-type PA outdoor. Clubs and SCAs do not constitute outdoor ERPs. The concept of ERP concerns constructions. For more information, read the ERP info sheet. Dive boats are not less. The only ERP of the EF type, floating establishments, are floating pontoons and boats remaining at the quayside, e.g. transformed into a restaurant or into a residence. For more information, read the ERP info sheet. 3. Groups of 6 maximum. Supervision included. The practice supervised by a club or an association is limited to 6 people. Educator included, on public roads, e.g. parking for equipment, beach or dock for departure from the shore, or in a place open to the public, e.g. boat. Source: Article 3, Decree N. Degree 2020-1310. Q. What does this notion of 6 people mean? This means, for example, that on a quay or a boat, there cannot be groups of more than 6 people, supervision included. The distance to respect between the members of the group is that defined in the general framework, 1 meter, with wearing of the mask. The distance between each group of 6 is not defined in the regulations. The FFESSM recommendations dated April 15, 2021 indicate the organization of the activity in several groups of 6 is authorized. Q. If we make several groups of 6 max on board a boat, do you need as many safety data sheets, and therefore dive directors, as there are groups? A. We have no regulatory element supporting such an obligation. Nothing prohibits it, but to our knowledge, it is not mandatory. Last season, summer 2020. No such requirement was presented when there were a large number of practitioners. For more information on the dive director, see the pleasure diving info sheet. Q. Are exceptions possible? A. Not to our knowledge. Q. Is not diving in the great outdoors, open air, considered to be an outdoor establishment? No, outdoor establishments are governed by the Construction and Housing Code. They only concern, when diving, outdoor swimming pools, or constructions. For more information, read the ERP info sheet. 4. Limited movement around his home. 4.1 General case. 10 kilometers from home. In general, travel is limited to 10 kilometers, as the crow flies, around his home. This includes the diving activity, scuba, apnea, rebreather. These trips must be made outside of curfew hours, between 6 a.m. and 7 p.m. with a residence certificate. Failing this, a travel certificate must be completed. The 10 kilometers distance limit is from home to the place of embarkation, and to the place of disembarkation, but does not apply to travel by boat. Source: FFESSM Recommendations dated April 3 and 9, 2021. In more detail, understand that at sea, the leisure practice of nautical, boating and diving activities remains authorized, provided that the usual barrier measures and the following provisions are respected. The starting and ending points of the activities must be within the maximum radius of 10 kilometers from the home. Once on board, there is no limit to the distance at sea. Within the framework of the respect of the curfew, it is forbidden to navigate between 7 p.m. and 6 a.m. in territorial waters. Source: Atlantic Maritime Prefecture. Similar provisions in the Channel and the North Sea. CoViD. Calculated distance, as the crow flies, in a radius around your home. Many websites allow this calculation to be made, including Geoportal, Mappy, Google Maps. Esri France seems to us to have developed the simplest and most efficient site. All you need to do is log in. Enter your address, or choose current location, and you instantly see your possible range of action. To access, click here. 4.2 EXEMPTIONAL case for access to outdoor ERP, and similar, outdoor ERP, PA type, outdoor area, gravel pit, old quarry, etc., designed for diving. Outdoor ERP, type PA. Outdoor swimming pool. In its publication of April 8, 2021, the ministry in charge of sports indicates that access to so-called PA-type, outdoor public buildings, e.g. stadium, golf course, outdoor tennis courts, outdoor swimming pools or a fitted-out career, is authorized within the limits of the Department of Residence * or outside it, within a perimeter of 30 kilometers around his domicile. The text of the ministry in charge of sports is silent on the question of the supporting documents to be provided. The federations that have communicated on the subject, e.g. golf, speak of a sports license certificate or simply a sports license or even a membership or membership card justifying the need for outdoor ERP access. See an example of a diving certificate, FFESSM IL et Villain. * The interpretation of the ministry in charge of sports dated April 8, 2021 is based on 2 bis of Article 4 of Decree 2020-1310. The trips mentioned in 2 degrees, 5 degrees, 6 degrees of 2, as well as those mentioned in its 7 degrees when they do not fall under 2 of Article 3. are carried out within the limits of the department of residence of the person or, outside this one, within a perimeter of 30 kilometers around his home. Still relying on 2 bis of Article 4 of Decree 2020-1310, the Director of Sports, Mr. Giles Queneherve, Ministry of Sports, made the following response to the FFESSM on April 14. Response from the Sports Director. 1 degree outdoor activities authorized. The combined reading of Articles 4, 42 and 43 of Decree No. 2020-1310 allows the pursuit of outdoor sports activities in an ERPPA and in public space. These activities can be supervised by physical and sports activities establishments. In particular associative or commercial clubs, while respecting a physical distance of 2 meters between practitioners. Obviously, the physical distancing of 2 meters does not invalidate the security procedures requiring temporarily and ad hoc to break this distance. In addition, the collective changing rooms must remain closed. When the activity takes place on public roads or in public spaces, the ban on grouping more than 6 people applies. Collective sports, underwater hockey for the FFESSM, are prohibited. However, the clubs which organize the practice of sports disciplines falling within a collective sport can offer sports activities adapted under the conditions mentioned above. 2 degrees zone for sports practice 10 km. For individual sports practice on personal initiative and not supervised, it must be practiced in a zone of 10 kilometers around the home. 4 degrees of 2 of Article 4. 30 km or department. For supervised sports activities, for example in the club and the PA equipment usually frequented, club located in the premises of an outdoor swimming pool, federal base. Whitewater Stadium, it is possible to move within a radius of 30 kilometers or throughout its department of residence. 2 bis and 7 degrees of 2 of Art 4. The same applies when the club, without falling directly under the ERPPA qualification, has a perfectly identifiable starting structure, technical rooms for example, which constitutes the starting point of the practice. This is the case, for example, of a diving club set up in the immediate vicinity of the sea or a body of water. Quote, further information. Pleasure diving info sheet on ERP quarry type outdoor ERP in France 4.3 EXEMPTIONAL cases concerning the maintenance of the professional skills of sports educators professional skills maintenance. Activities for graduates in specific environments, skiing and derivatives. Mountaineering, scuba diving, parachuting, caving, swimming and water safety, are authorized in outdoor equipment, ERP Type PA, and in indoor equipment, ERP DA Type 10, with exemption from the curfew and the limitation of distance from the home. It goes without saying that this presupposes being able to justify the benefit of this exemption, at least by presenting a valid professional sports educator card. 5. Wearing a protective mask. There is a general obligation to wear a mask for people aged 11 and over, in particular, Annex I of Decree No. 2020-1310. For boats, Article 8 states, anyone 11 years of age or over who accesses or remains on board a ship or passenger vessel wears a protective mask. Tip: make sure you have waterproof, freezer bag type bags in which you write your name in indelible ink. This bag will allow you to put your protective mask in it just before diving and to take it back on when you exit the dive. 6. Physical distancing measures. Article 1 of Decree No. 2020-1310 specifies that the physical distance of at least 1 meter between two people, known as barriers, defined at national level, must be observed in all places and in all circumstances. In the absence of wearing a mask, and without prejudice to the rules which make it compulsory, the distance mentioned in I is increased to 2 meters. Article 44 of Decree N-Degree 2020-1310 adds, the physical and sporting activities take place under conditions such as to allow the respect of a physical distance of 2 meters, except when, by its very nature, the activity does not allow it. Thus referring to the recommendations of the Ministry in charge of sports and delegated federations. In its recommendations, the FFESSM indicates, the nature of the underwater activities does not allow a distance of 2 meters during the practice. This provision does not apply to our activities. In conclusion, apart from practicing in the water, a distance of 1 meter, general framework, must be respected for all participants and they must wear a protective mask. This is well on land as in a boat. In the particular case of the absence of a mask, the distance should be 2 meters. 7. Hygiene measures. The hygiene measures are as follows. Annex I of Decree No. 2020-1310. Wash your hands regularly with soap and water, access to which must be facilitated with the provision of disposable towels, or by rubbing with a solution for disinfecting the hands in accordance with Standard N 14476. Systematically cover your nose and mouth when coughing or sneezing into your elbow. Blow your nose in a disposable tissue to dispose of immediately in a garbage can. Avoid touching your face, especially your nose, mouth and eyes. Last minute April coronavirus COVID information and diving.